Hello, Gemini. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. Welcome to your January 2024 forecast. This is going to help you kick the new year off on the right foot. I can't wait to share all of the messages, and without any delay, let's get straight into the channeled messages, which come through for me in dreams and meditation. And I saw some major movement for you, starting off with what kind of inspires you. There was this vision of an electric storm in my dream, or like this surge of energy. And while this is what kind of got my attention, it's the thing after that that really helped bring this symbol to light. So whenever there's an energy surge and the power goes out, most modern homes have one of two options, either a breaker switch where you go and turn it back on, or there's a fuse and you have to replace that. Now, before you do that, it's really good to figure out what caused that fuse to sort of like be tripped. Was it a storm outside, or was it something in your life? And I think this is more what this symbol is about for you. Is there something where you're overloading your energy system? So is there too much energy coming from work and it's kind of exhausting you? Is there a relationship in your life where you're taking on a lot and that might be overwhelming you? Is there too much focus on trying to accomplish something or be perfect or whatever? There's something where it feels like you could pull back a little bit there and focus a little bit more somewhere else. And so we'll unplug from what's causing that overload and plug into what is allowing us to really feel a natural flow of energy, inspiration, and vitality. So there could be a tower moment for some of you where you just say, I've had enough, right? And it could just be an epiphany, an emotional moment where you're tired and you think, I'm now ready to go in a different direction. Good for you if it's just a very clear thought pattern and you know what to do with it. Sometimes we just get exhausted and maybe make ourselves sick over something, just literally burning the candle at both ends. You get a cold and you think, why am I doing this? So it may take that. It could also be an external event. So I saw like the symbol of a storm. This could also be something happening like a change in job status, relationship status, etc., because of someone else's decision or an outside source. All of these things are still helping you to refocus on something that's a better investment of your energy. Because at the end of the day, like hitting the reset button in the breaker box or putting a new fuse in, I want you now to be able to sustain without any more of those moments where it's sort of like, I'm exhausted or I hit the fuse, right? We don't want you to have to break that fuse. Now, the other thing here is a tower moment can be really, really good news. This can be an invitation for marriage, a new job. It can be a birth of a child. It can be an addition of a pet in a family. Anything that you can imagine that's a major positive shift. Graduation is another thing. So I want you to be ready for this. In order to be ready for this, there's some other plugs, if we want to think of it that way, that need to be unplugged so that you can have all of your energy, all of your attention on the horizon, and that's going to help you out. Better energy management. And when we look at resources in tarot, it can be time, it can be the attention that you're spending, it can be your money, it can also be just how many hours you're working, etc. So be smart about that. Each one of you will have to sort that out for yourself, but a positive tower or epiphany moment that will help you hit a necessary reset. Then I saw a firmer foundation in two areas in particular. So I felt the earth moving beneath me, but it wasn't necessarily like an earthquake. It was more like I was kind of like an escalator or something. I was being moved to a different location. And I closed my eyes and meditated on this, and I thought this has to do possibly with the overlap of these two, but maybe it's like career and relationships in particular. Higher ground, just like an escalator or elevator. It's bringing you to a higher ground. So this is your chance to sort everything else out so that you're ready for this. That's why we started with the reset. Look at your finances, look at your business affairs, make sure that those are where you need them to be, and then make some space in your life for a new partnership, because it feels like there could be a new friendship, there could be a new business alliance. For those of you that have been really focusing on personal development, there could also be new love. And it isn't accidental that we had the tower before this. The arrival of what you seek could really also be this sort of tower moment where you're like, oh my gosh, it's finally here. Am I ready? Yeah, if you do all the work that we've been talking about, you'll be ready for that. So new foundations in business and also in relationships. And now this is the thing that will kind of help you sustain all of this positive move that we're seeing, or positive movement that we're seeing in the new year. And it's choices. So the final dream that I had was about like this gigantic table of food, a buffet, if you will. Too many choices, too many things. you can't have everything there. You have to figure out what you really want to sample. And for any of you that have been to a wedding, a party, some sort of gathering where there's a lot of food, if you eat too many things, especially if they're different types of food, spicy, sweet, this, that, your stomach later is going to have a little bit to say about this. So you have to be smart, unless you have like a stomach of steel. Most of us have done something like this and you think, I shouldn't have eaten all that. So this is really the same thing in everyday life. What you're consuming energetically matters. I featured the Six of Pentacles here because discernment is so vital. So pick and choose wisely, say no when necessary. And this is going to allow you to recognize this new partnership or to embrace with this new change in finances or personal development. And it's going to help you not have to hit the reset or breaker switch unnecessarily. All right, let's get started. A reminder here, you can use this for Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus. And we will go into deeper detail for Sun, Rising, and Moon towards the end of this video. So I hope you do stick around for that. All right, let me focus first on the cards and see the messages here that are coming through. How synchronistic is that? Six of Pentacles right off the bat. Love it when that happens. Interesting, we had two that stuck together. We're seeing the positive shift with relationships. Some great cards here. I really like what I have to see so far here. I said I was going to be quiet, but there was too much to see, too many synchronicities. Love it. Just one, okay. Nicely aligned with the High Priestess there as well. All right, folks, let's begin here. We're going to get started with your Catalyst card. This card is so powerful. Let's turn it in the upright position so we can fully read it. So we have Lady Portia here, overcoming limitations. It says that this is karmic in nature, and what you really want to focus on is letting go of the need to be right. In this lifetime, we didn't come to the planet to be perfect or 100% correct. If we had that already, we'd be an ascended master, right? So each and every one of us is on a journey to learn, to understand, to expand our knowledge. So if you made a mistake, that's okay. What are you doing with the information from that misstep or that mistake? Did you learn a valuable lesson? If you did and you're not going to repeat it, that's perfect. That's really what this whole experience on the planet is all about. If someone beats you up for making that mistake, that's more on them than it's on you, right? And actually, when I was looking at health, and this could also be the people around you, be aware of projections. Someone else could be projecting this feeling of, or this kind of like unnecessary thought that only perfect people are lovable or something like that. That's on them, that's not on you. So embrace your mistakes, learn from them, and be stronger because of them. And that's going to just help you live a happier life in general. The other thing on this one, and it kind of goes with, it'll help you from feeling like you have to be right or know it all. It's the latter piece. If you don't know an answer to something, just say that. And you can say it with a follow-up. So you can say, I don't have the answer to that question, but I can try to find it. Can you give me some time? Do you want to help me research this? Let's figure it out together. There are really powerful ways that you can pull people in and be a part of a solution without promising something that you don't know, without getting yourself into something that's a little bit messy. Just buy yourself time and admit up front that you need more information. That's also it too. You can just say, I need more information before I can make this decision. I need some time to research. And if someone won't give it to you, then you can actually protect yourself and say, well, I just wanted to put my thoughts out there and air my concerns so that if we find later that this didn't work, that you know we had an option here, okay? So this is going to save you and set you up for success. But in the meantime, if you made a mistake and you learn from it, you're succeeding because you're basically expanding, and that's all we really need to do. And I feel like we've talked that one into the ground. So let's take a look at the Celtic Cross, beginning with the very synchronistic Six of Pentacles. The card is reversed, which can represent for some of you difficulty in saying that short word that's so powerful, no. So if there's something that you don't want or you don't need, it's important to speak up. I love how picky and discerning this particular character is in the Six of Pentacles. She's like, a little bit there, and that's all I can do. So be very clear in your boundaries. Don't be afraid to say no. There's always going to be a hand that's kind of reaching for your time, energy, etc. You want to leave a little bit for yourself at the end of the day so that you have the vitality to begin again, begin anew the next day, and that we don't have that breaker switch moment that I was picking up on. We want to avoid that version of the tower. By doing this, you're going to set a foundation that is going to allow for growth, expansion, and again, sustainable energy so that you have vitality and attention to put into what you want to put into. This is also representing, for some of you, reclaiming work-life balance. Usually it would be the Two of Pentacles, but there's a little bit of that with this as well. Now let's look at this particular character. Some of you are also saying no to this energy. The Five of Swords is someone who doesn't listen well, who may even enjoy getting a rise out of people. And we can see what happens here in the background. These people are just over that conversation. It's like enough is enough. So if you have someone in your life that is argumentative, overly critical without any constructive pieces to it, or is just incapable of taking their own accountability. So, we were talking about this. When you're wrong, it's better to just say, yeah, I could have done better and I'm working on it. But you're right, that wasn't the best move. It will shut down most conversations at that point, but you could then say, what are we going to do next? Or can we take this into a constructive zone? Once you take accountability, then you can focus on the constructive piece. There could be someone that just wants to point that out, and this is an energy that you can basically say no to, because this person isn't really working on growth, isn't understanding or empathizing with you, etc. When it comes to partnerships and friendships, this person also, we could use the phrase cotton in the air. They're not listening. It's like la, 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 la. They're thinking of the next thing that they want to say. So again, I think it's time to step away from that kind of energy. And then ultimately, when there may be people in your life that just don't want you to speak back to them, we see this more when we're children. And there's a teacher or a parent or an authority figure, and they're like, this is how it's going to be done. End of story. That might be okay when you're a kid, but as you get older, again, this is really more of an indication of when is enough. And because the energy underneath that was weighing things out, they may be able to get away with it this time, but you don't have to keep engaging with someone that is that black and white and tries to shut down things like that. Okay, we look at the deep past. You've already made your mind up on something big. We have the World card. It's in reverse. So for some of you, there's been a big change and you're sitting with that. You're trying to figure out, how do I feel about this? For some of you, you've made your mind that you want to go down a path, but you haven't yet taken action on it. So either way, it feels like you need an extra day or week or a little bit of time to just kind of wrap your head around it. Take some time. But the sooner you embrace the necessary change, the better. The World card in reverse can also represent that it's time to move on. Some of you may have learned everything that you need to from a given person or relationship or opportunity. And sometimes we cling to that long after the lesson has been learned. So this is inviting you to look at those parts of your life where you've basically done everything that you need to and move on if you need to, okay? So this is still an expansion card, and it's saying that once you let go or once you embrace whatever's in front of you, then some good stuff starts to unfold. Let's look at the recent past first and foremost. This is a necessary healing that needs to happen. So the Three of Swords can represent, simply put, a disappointment. Maybe you applied to a job, you got denied, or you went for a school and they were full or they weren't interested. Anything where it feels like I was invested in that, but I didn't get what I put into it. This is also it's a blessing in disguise. It hurts the heart, but it also helps you let go of something and focus instead on where we were talking about the plugs. The universe just helped you unplug from that. There's something better on the horizon. And what you want to do right now is process whatever it was that caused the pain or the disappointment and think, well, now what? What am I going to do next? What can I focus on now that I know that this isn't the best connection for me? Some of you may also be dealing with something that's out of your hands. So this could be the combination of these two could be a death, loss, or again, maybe even when it comes to a job, it could be something like being made redundant, reduction of forces, a merger, something like that, and you're still wrapping your head around that. Sometimes we don't have a say in the matter, and that's frustrating. But there are so many positive cards as we look at the rest of the spread that once you let go of what you couldn't control and focus on what you can, that's when you start to get pretty powerful. The environment is the high priestess. There could be someone around you that is very capable of helping you. This is also a reflection on what you bring to the equation. Right by her, as we're looking at wealth, we have the creator. So some of you are going into your own creative zone or self-employment or something of that nature. And we'll dig into that in a moment, but there's some good stuff on the horizon. Let's now kind of take the crowning card and see where you could go next. So we're never done learning. Any given age, you can always learn something new. You can always shake things up and try it from a different perspective. The Eight of Pentacles is the constant or cosmic learner. And as we see here, there's a good investment, a return on the investment, I meant to say, when we look at this card. Put 100% behind whatever you do. I had a Reiki teacher once tell me that, and I never forgot it. So even when you're feeling like, I don't want to be here, or I'm not appreciated, you still give your best because it's a representation of you. So for those of you that need a little pep talk in that respect, this is saying, always give 100, and you never know what might come of that. Someone might notice you and they're saying, why is that person, for those of you that are working, in this role? Or if you're doing something in the community, someone will maybe think, we really need to recognize this. So good work does not go unrecognized. And at the very least, it's on a soul level. You signed up for some of these lessons, so learn them completely. This could also be a call to complete something that you never finished before. So this is going back and putting the final touches or finishing touches on something. It could be learning, going back to school, college, a training program. This is worth whatever it is that you want to do. It takes a little time, takes a little energy, but the payoff is fantastic here. Let's look at what's coming through here in this 2-card combination in the near future. So we have the Two of Wands, and then beneath it, we have Temperance. Temperance is reversed. It's an angelic card, one that represents patience and taking a step at a time. We have a planning card here, and I think this is a pretty clear combination. So take the time to plan. Take the time to dream. Putting all of these things into, imagining like it's a flower bed. You're planting that seed. It's necessary because sometimes if we just throw ourselves out there, sometimes you land on your feet, but sometimes you tumble. The planning will help you have a firmer foundation and will help you map out plan A, plan B, plan C, so that you are always coming to the table with an idea so that you're very rehearsed and ready and you're going to be okay, all right? Be patient with yourself and make time for the dreaming. And that's what Temperance and the Two of Wands is about. Also, be patient with your dreams. They don't grow overnight. They take time. They take effort. They may require a little bit of extra work and elbow grease, and it's totally worth it. This is a time where being patient and having that plan is going to empower that high priestess energy that we see in the environment. Before we talk about that, let's take a look at how you're showing up here. We have the Ten of Cups. Such a beautiful illustration on this. Some of you might actually be in a brand new relationship. We have this nesting energy. You could also be in a new job, or you might be in a new home. The nesting energy can be many, many things. So for those of you that are in the newness of something really exciting, give yourself a chance, as I said earlier, for the dust to settle. Some of you may also, this was in the past, you may also be worried about your heart, thinking, can I do this? Will I be okay? Give it time and don't get ahead of yourself, and just basically take one step at a time when it comes to something new and assume the best. Rather than waiting for the other shoe to fall, just assume today could be a great day, because as we said here with health, avoid projections that are unnecessary. You are actively creating a new reality each and every day. So let's create a really good reality, okay? This can also be an empty nest for some of you. So perhaps you're in a place where your children have grown up or they've moved away, or you're even just kind of single for the first time in a while. This is also reminding you to make the place that you live feel really at home. Make space for others, friends, family, and perhaps a love interest to come through in that space. But at the end of the day, it's your space too. So we're focusing on the nest, feeling at home wherever you're at, and also feeling at home in your own person, in your body, loving yourself, because love begins right here, okay? Really powerful card. Now, because that's you, 10 of Cups, just like if we had 6 of Cups, 2 of Cups, or the Lovers, this is basically magnetic. You're pulling in partnership. I put 4 of Wands, but it's the same energy. So this is the foundation that I talked about that's changing and shifting and moving. All right. Guess what? You are the construction kind of like foreman or person that's in charge. Obviously, I'm not in construction here. So we have the High Priestess, and this is your chance to really focus on making it happen. Now, it's in the environment, but like energy attracts like energy. So somebody is seeing your value, and if you're feeling frustrated, like you've done everything that you can do, there's someone around you that may have an idea to help unlock your potential or help you get to the next phase of the journey. No matter which way you look at that, this is auspicious and is really positive. It's also a reminder, as I keep going back to the metal rat, which we'll be talking about when we get into health, your projections, your thoughts, they are attractive. Let's put out good thoughts, positive, affirmative thoughts, rather than projecting the fears or anxieties, because we don't need to attract those sorts of things. So I can, I will, I am. Put that behind whatever your vision or goal is, and lo and behold, it should happen, all right? Very positive. This is also encouraging you to lean into things like intuitive development, meditation, and any creative venture that might be in front of you. This is a very powerful card. Let's look at what's going on here. This is the breaker switch, folks. As we're looking at hopes, fears, and opportunity, we have a typically very positive energy, the Ace of Wands, but it's in the reverse state. Let's just imagine it's a switch. This is upright, this is reversed. So there's something right now that is causing you maybe to shut down or feel exhausted, or maybe even we're looking at the thoughts here with Ace of Wands, closing down your creative thoughts. High Priestess energy comes through saying, no. We need to pull this light switch in the upright position. Just because someone said no, because an ace is an offer, that's why you always see that sort of cosmic hand. So one rejection, again, it's a form of redirection or protection. That wasn't the right person, place, or thing. Something else is waiting to take, almost like a relay race, and take that ace and say, yes, I've been waiting for you. So hold out hope and faith and vision for what that is. Don't overthink. If something good lands in your lap, you say, thank you, I've been waiting for that. And yes, I am ready, willing, and deserving of this opportunity, okay? So this is really about getting out of your head and about exploring the options and the doors on the horizon and exploring, okay? This is vitality, so there could also be an advantage to shaking up the routine. If something works, but it's not feeling good anymore and you're feeling a little bit disengaged, then this is about trying something that turns on that light switch, okay? So this is really an invitation to you to figure out how to reconnect with your creativity, and maybe even for some of you, it's a change of social sort of like environment. So a new group of friends, a new job, a school, something. It's the group of people that you're around that's very much also affecting this, okay? Now let's look at your outcome card. It's the Chariot. So you are in the driver's seat. You get to decide what to do, where to go when this card is in the upright position. Even if it's little things in your life, they're still important decisions. It's saying embrace each and every sort of like source of empowerment that you have. The Chariot is also very organized and knows when to kind of rev up the engines here. So I think one of the things that you can focus on, we talked about finances, like really getting organized in your financial and also your, for those of you in school or work, looking at school, professional aspects, personal development, all of these things, and just kind of like getting a plan together. That plan may not happen overnight, but when it does, then you're going to be ready and you'll be behind the wheel and you're ready to drive. This is also a great card for those of you that want to step into a role of management, maybe have an opportunity for leadership. The question here is, are you ready? Let's take a moment now and expand the forecast and delve a little deeper into health, wealth, love, and destiny. We're going to start off with your mind, body, and spirit, which constitutes health. We talked a little bit about this already. We have the metal rat coming through saying, be aware of projection. So rats are really intelligent. They're good at problem solving, and they're good at getting what they want. But sometimes, as we're looking at this, there's too much thoughts that go in the way and get in the way of things. And this could also be fear, anxiety, or even any sort of self-sabotaging things. This is what we want to be super mindful of. So if it's coming from an internal source, because you have the high priestess energy that is coming through loud and clear in two different spaces, it's basically saying you are what you think, you are what you feel. So why not try projecting out the possibilities and begin the morning with an affirmative thought. I am ready for this. I am capable of this. I am deserving of this. I am ready. Basically put that into the morning routine so that you're projecting good things, great things. Also be aware of others' projections, mom, dad, boss, sister, brother, etc. And know that you don't have to accept all of them. It's like a satellite dish. You could just turn it in another direction and let them continue. Because for some of you, that projection is not your own, it's someone else's, and you're just going to walk away from this, okay? So being mindful of your own critical thoughts and others, and really turning them around into possibilities. I know it sounds a little easier than it might be initially, but once you start to reprogram the sort of thought process, then it becomes natural, and it's a new program. You basically start with you're rebooting in January. So we're going to reboot the mental program. All right, so enough said with that. Now let's take a look and see what's coming through, generally speaking, with health. So I love that we have this, a card of capability. And we also have a card of movement. So for many of you, you're starting to move a little bit more and get things moving in the right direction. And the patience and the planning is going to be important. So any changes in your health should be done with a sense of research, with planning, with working with others that can support you, friends, family, doctor, etc. And then we see things moving in the right direction. Where may you be feeling the most sort of challenges? Fatigue. The Ace of Wands in reverse actually is not so much about the fatigue in the body, but the mental fatigue. So for those of you that work a very taxing job, whether it's using your body or you're helping others and you're just feeling depleted, this is the biggest opportunity for you to feel healthier, happier, and to have more energy in the tank. So again, at the end of the day, you're really going to have to decide which projects or people or relationships to take on so that you can embrace this 10 of Cups, this High Priestess, this Chariot, this Ace. All of this that's here is going to require saying yes to some things and saying no to others. So having boundaries and saying that word no is so powerful. Some of you are overdue to move to a place where you have more room to grow. And this could be either because your family is getting bigger or because if we're looking at work, you've done everything you can. So that's the first thing, is room to grow, and then this sort of mental fatigue that I was picking up on. For some of you, it's overcoming a disappointment, but it does look like it's very much in the past, and it's about looking towards all of these things, really mapping out the possibilities. It's fairly manageable this month. The negativity comes mostly from others or from that sort of critical thought process. I think I've given you some tools to deal with that. Okay, so health is looking like you've got this under control. It's basically the mental fatigue more than anything, and that is really about the relationships or the people around you, the environment around you. And once you fix that, hopefully things will go into a better trajectory. Let's focus a bit on wealth. This is going to be your relationship with money and abundance. For those of you working, it can be your job. It can also be just general changes in life purpose. So as we look at this, what a fantastic card to come through. It is kind of like the flip side of this one. So in the environment, we see a dream coming to fruition. The challenge in your wealth card is knowing that you are the source of it. You are the creator. You don't need to look to someone else to make this happen. you're the one that's weaving the web of possibilities. So step into that power and put it out there like a net. So I was talking to a friend earlier today about something that we had talked about it together like back in March, and I'm just now getting to it. But it did happen in the web of this year. It just took me longer than I thought. So cast out the desires, the hopes, the vision now, and hopefully sooner than later in 2024, this can happen, possibly even January. Don't second guess yourself. That's the first thing with a creative card like this reversed. And don't do something counter to your intuition, because really that's the only place right now where you might trip yourself up or get stuck. Let's break this down into 3 categories. We're going to start off with those of you in a current job, then we'll look at those that are job seeking, and then those that are retired or not focusing on employment at the moment. All right, if you are currently employed, let's go back to this message here. You don't have to be right all of the time. And if you're surrounded by a person who has to be right all of the time, that's your red flag that it's time to move into something different. Let's assume that you're enjoying your job and you want to see where you can grow. For some of you, training is good. This is also encouraging you to do things even outside of work. It's not all about the day job. For some of you, there's a side hustle that actually in the long run could end up being your main gig. And so I really encourage you to create some skills that are separate even from the job, because this is what will keep you going long after that job has come and gone, or like when you're retired, etc. So I see some like a passion project or a skill set that's developing beyond whatever it was that you went to school for. I'm all for that, okay? So personal growth is coming through no matter what, and again, outside of the job. If you're happy there, there's a chance for you also to step into a little bit more management, but it feels like you have to make some decisions because the mental fatigue that I talked about is a real thing. Some of you, there's some morale stuff going on there that may even be making you think, do I want to stay long term? That's something you want to talk to your boss about, or again, growth potential. I feel like it's important to communicate desires so that they can come into fruition. And that's the main thing here. As long as you're taking action, I feel like you have a good chance of accomplishing what you hope to. The only challenges for those that are feeling stuck, it feels like some of you have done everything that you set out to do, or that there's already maybe a top-heavy environment and there's not a lot of room for growth. The good news for those that are feeling a little bit challenged is that there's still a chance possibly to transfer or to still have an upgrade or just to go somewhere else. The doors are opening here around you. If they're not where you're at, they're somewhere else. Okay, but because the High Priestess energy is here, if you can see a way to do it this month, go for it. And if you can't, then look somewhere where you can find it. That's the main message that I have for those who are working. That, and this is just highly creative. And you really should be leaning into your 1 or 2 year plan of what you want to do for yourself. So have a goal, have a plan, and be creative and really kind of grow your personal skills. So that's for those that are working. For those that are looking for a job, this is a good time to get involved in professional networks. Your personal network is a great way to find new things. It does feel like there could be a 1 or 2 month waiting process for some of you, but if you're willing and ready to reach out, you might even be able to find something that doesn't exist yet. I've talked about this before, but one of my best jobs early in my career, a long time ago, 20 years ago, I opened the door simply by doing a cold application, a letter saying, I'm a big fan of the work that you do. I'm looking at your website. Looks like you might need some help here. Are you hiring for this position? And they had just opened the job and they hadn't even started interviewing. And they said, well, if you're willing to fly here and interview, we'll consider you. And a week later I was working. You never know. So you could open up that door because the High Priestess is right above this, but there's a lack of belief or action. You have to believe in yourself. I was much younger then and I didn't have a lot of experience with rejection. I'm like, why wouldn't this work? Sometimes it's good to have that naivete or that feeling of I'm going to just do this. And that's what I still do it to this day. I'm like, what have I got to lose? Let's give this a shot. So give it a shot. You might surprise yourself by your potential to open a door. This is also true for those that are working somewhere and you might think, am I really ready for that role or that opportunity? If you believe you are, you are. If you don't, then again, be aware of your projections because that's affecting your ability to rise up, okay? But overall, I like what I see. I see a lot of you sending emails or applications, a 1 to 2 month waiting period for most of you. Some of you might be magically able to open a door, or you know someone that can get you there faster, that can get that email to the boss. And so there you go. If you are either not focusing on work, retired, just simply focusing on yourself right now, here's what I'm seeing. For those that are retired, gosh, such great energy around hobbies and creativity here. Some of you may still, you might decide to teach, you might decide to be writing some things down at this point. This is often a card here that's associated with a curriculum or a proposal or even consulting work. So you may be retired, but people want your expertise. I see actually work opportunities if you want them. I also see for some of you mapping out a future trip. The time to travel may not be January. Temperance Reverse is saying, don't rush into it. And this is also saying, look at all the different places you can go and where you can maximize your money the most if you want to do that. Let's see what else is coming through here. You may be looking at your current living situation and thinking, this is a move. And you might be downsizing or creating some more space if you want that. But either way, you're reassessing how much space you need and where you're at. And a lot of this could be to be closer to friends or to have more fun. Maybe it's more of a vacation environment that you want. Whatever you want to do, it looks like a reevaluation of the living quarters. For some of you, future planning of a trip. And then for many of you, this sort of like personal development or hobby energy coming in. Let's move on to love and relationships. A beautiful card is coming through on this. We have your sensitivity is a gift. Amen to that. Some of us as children were taught to hide our feelings or to dial it down or to be a little less than we are. So we have the starfish here. That's basically saying connect with that star power. And even if you feel like part of that was muted, starfish over here have the capacity to regrow or reclaim whatever was lost. So if a part of their limb is cut off, most sea stars can grow that back. So I like that. And then we have a seahorse, which, especially when we look at male seahorses, they have the capacity to carry the eggs that the female has fertilized and they birth it, which is a really cool kind of culmination of divine masculine and feminine. So this card is encouraging you to reclaim your star power. And it's kind of like that Light Seer card where we have the strength card that's split. It's saying we don't have to be one or the other. We can be strong and sensitive. And that is your strength this month. And it really dials you into this. You have to be in touch with your emotions and your dreams and your feelings to be able to connect with the High Priestess. And that's going to help you be a better partner because otherwise you're projecting that feeling of being closed off, and that's not going to really invite in the 10 of Cups energy, which wants to come through. Let's just take a quick scan of all the cards here when it comes to love with a capital L, all types of relationships. I feel like the biggest opportunity across all relationships is communication and stepping away from these kinds of connections where someone doesn't let you speak or they don't want to listen. I think that many of you might be trying to make time for the people that you love the most, whether it's friendship or love, that's going to be important. And the first thing that's before we get into any of the breakdowns is your own healing. So before we look at relationships, single, etc., it's really like, how do you feel in this moment right now? That's key. So recovery and personal development, personal growth takes the forefront. Now we can break it down, and we're going to start off first with those that are already in a relationship. So for those in a relationship, I think that this message from Lady Portia about not needing to be right, that's so important. So this is not a time necessarily to point the finger. Instead, you could say, if someone does something that's out of sort, just really check in with them and say, are you okay? This isn't like you and I want to make sure everything's all right. Always assume that there might be a bigger explanation or a higher purpose for it. Give them some space to explain themselves first and try not to overreact. And I think that'll be step one, because sensitivity includes empathy and sympathy and tuning in. So take time to tune into your partner. The flip side is true. Is your partner taking time to tune into you? If that's not what's happening, then you want to speak up and also map out expectations. So the Two of Wands is saying, this is what I need to feel happy, supported, and loved. And then give them a chance to know what it is and say, what do you need? How can we work on this together? There's a lot of cooperative, collaborative energy here. One of the things that looks like it could be lacking is For some of you, it could be patience, because I did pick up on mental fatigue with this. There could also be a lack of just intellectual intimacy. And let me talk about what I'm seeing with this. It's just sort of making time to figure out like what's going on with your partner, listening to their day, them listening to you, just getting to know them, making space for that. This could also be physical intimacy that isn't where you or your partner want it to be. So this is a month to kind of like reignite those areas of your life. But I like to always stress that intimacy is not just physical. It's also just the matter of spending time, sharing hopes, dreams, fears, and things with your partner, and letting them know what's going on and where you're at. So vital, so important. Let's see what else is going on in current relationships. It just feels like making time is going to be the biggest challenge, and this might even happen naturally when that is going on. So the Six of Pentacles, there's a lot going on, particularly for those that might be going back to school or just working a lot, working on a personal project. The other partner may also be going through something challenging or painful, and they may not be able to express it, or they may have tried to express it, but you weren't listening. So, and vice versa. So this is about trying to meet in the middle, talk again, and really celebrate what we've got here, which is this lovely nesting energy. So I'm very heartened by this card. I feel like you have what it takes, but look how small the heart is on this one. It's just about expressing that love a little bit more, because when we zoom way out, it's hard to see. It's just a little dot. So I think expressing gratitude, making more space, showing and sharing your heart a bit more, all of that's going to be key. And letting your partner know that you really like it when they share that vulnerable or sensitive side as well. It's a very easy does it sort of month when we're looking at existing relationships. There's nothing here in the future and the present that is really anything that's worrying me. The only thing here is perhaps not saying no and getting into arguments over that, or holding a grudge from an argument. That's the one area of opportunity. And for some of you who have been together for a while but maybe aren't seeing the development or movement or commitment that you want, it's really talking about expectations for like what it is that you want to do next. I am, again, very heartened by these cards here. So this is planning a future together. Literally, the Two of Wands is mapping it out. And we can see her with the map, being more patient with each other, temperance, holding space for each other, and then kind of like going down this road together. There are two motorcycles here. It's just a matter of deciding, are we in this? Are we ready? And I think you've got a lot of potential this month, but the healing has to happen first. Okay? Switching the page to those that are looking for love. Can you find it? Yes. However, this card is super important. You either feel a connection or you don't. The Ace of Wands in reverse can be a lack of chemistry, a lack of a physical spark. It can even be like really different ways of thinking to the point that it can cause arguments or just this feeling of we can't make this work. So if you're not feeling it, even if there may be better energy for friendship than love, is what I'm picking up on this month too. So let it naturally go in the direction that it needs to, and then you can decide if that's enough for you. Again, you might also be calling in this higher partnership, but it could be a couple months out. So we're seeing you plant seeds in January, and then February, March, that's when some of these come to fruition. Don't give up. Keep casting that net of expectations and give it time. I think that's the key thing here. Some stuff that we're looking at that could be affecting how quickly some of this comes through. Some of you may still be hurt over a past relationship. Some of you may have a difficult time in feeling like you're being heard, seen, or supported. Some of you just don't have the time right now to invest in a relationship, and that's okay, but these are the things to focus on. There could be also just a feeling of being disjointed or not plugged into where you just moved or the community around you, and this is about giving that some time. Patience is really key here. But I see within 1 to 2 months some opportunities knocking, and it feels like you have a lot of control and a lot of say in this. Some of you are waiting for that right connection, and I encourage you to continue to hold that high bar of excellence, because we have 2 equivalent High Priestess cards. That partnership is coming. Just give it time. You'll know it. You'll feel it. We have to have that light switch in the upright position, not off, okay? For those of you that are single and happy, what can you focus on right now? Well, project. Some of you are doing home improvement. Some of you are doing self-improvement or going to school, and I quite support that. You might also be focusing on planning the next leg of a journey, whether it's in your own sort of personal development or traveling. It keeps coming through with this. You can still grow your network right now. Lots of opportunities for personal and professional networking. And I would encourage you to do that. There could be a spark that flies that you weren't expecting during this period as well. Sorry about that. And I think that this is a period of time where you could embrace that. And the creative juices are definitely flowing. So for those that are creative writers, this is really great time for you. Even if you're doing something more practical or more in construction, some really great things can come through because of this. Don't second guess your idea. I like what I see here. Let's turn that light bulb on and put the energy behind that. Okay, let's take a look at your destiny card. We have the tarantula coming through here, which is a symbol of power, strength, and the ability to get what you want. It's very much in alignment with the creator, another spider energy here. And this is like an archer too, because they can move quickly, they can get what they want, and it's just a matter of taking action. So the tarantula comes through as a reminder of three things. You are strong and capable, but are you ready? When you're ready and you pull all of this belief together, then you're projecting a new reality. You're projecting the strength, the creativity, and the capability that's going to allow you to really get what you're looking for. Let's now expand this and look at sun, rising, and moon sign messages and see what is coming forth. Sun, rising, and moon. Beginning with the sun sign, we have the powerful Five of Pentacles coming through to remind you of three things. The first one is it's time to take care of your health. This comes through in the winter time when we work ourselves too much and we can get a cold. It can represent getting sick. It also comes through when we need to pay better attention to our feet. So if it's been a while since you bought a new pair of shoes, you can even see the person barefooted here, you want to take care of that. Because we're also seeing slippery or snowy weather, you want to be mindful of where you're walking because you can slip and fall. And a lot of times this particular card is associated with the lower part of the leg, the ankle and the foot itself. So take care of your feet, watch where you're walking, and don't burn yourself out when it comes to working too hard because you're increasing the chances of getting sick. Financially speaking, since we're in Pentacles, this has to do with self-confidence. And oftentimes what's happening, there's an emotional component to it, comes from the past. Someone said you couldn't or that you weren't good enough. It sits there in the heart space and it holds you back from accomplishing all that you can do. So the Five of Pentacles is not enough. We have the Six of Pentacles at the center. Say yes to the possibilities and say no to this feeling of lack because you are not lacking right now. You have the potential to project success and go beyond this, but it requires you loving yourself and releasing that past energy. Ask for help if you need it, but many of you tuning in here are hearing it from me. You are capable. Embrace the possibility. Take care of your health this month. And don't accept less than what you're worth. That's the message here. As we take a look at rising and ascendant, we have the King of Wands. The card is reversed, but it's still very positive. In the upright position, it's about being very capable of creating new ideas, thinking through problems, being a great leader, being a source of inspiration for others. Whenever the card is reversed, it's really focusing on potential problems that may or may not exist, and sometimes just focusing on what someone said in the past as a sort of outgrowth of what we just talked about in the sun sign. So rather than focusing on hypotheticals or fears or anxieties, which again, these projections, because we have High Priestess energy this month, can become realities, let's focus instead on mapping out all of the possibilities, because this is what's really going to open doors and bring in a brighter tomorrow for you. As we take a look at the moon sign, we have the Fool. The card is reversed, but it's still positive. This is basically encouraging you to take the first step. It's also encouraging you to let go of the baggage of the past. The Fool walks unencumbered. Here we have a little attaché, but sometimes it's the old knapsack. And basically this is just saying, I don't need to carry all of that stuff from the past. I'm going to make room for new experiences. I'm going to release some of my fears and anxieties and project possibility. Keep an open mind, keep an open heart. Some of you may also need to take one step backward or get a better perspective. Maybe there's a side step. It's not about how quickly you get to the destination. It's just about continuing the journey, even if it's twisting and turning. One step at a time, one opportunity at a time, one day at a time. Remember that the Temperance card has 1 foot in the water, 1 foot out. So for many of you, you're just trying new things out. It's not always going to be perfect on the first try. Hit the reset button each day as necessary and keep giving it a shot. It's that persistence, it's that passion that's going to get you to the finish line. Let's now take a look at a bonus card for 2024. I forgot to mention this earlier. I'm doing this in all readings. Then we'll take a look at the final card. This is basically what the new year is opening up to each sign. And for you, it is enlightenment. We have the Eight of Swords in reverse. It's like taking the blindfolds off. And sometimes we're surprised by what we see. It could be positively, it could be frustrating, but either way, it's actually a blessing. So someone or something is showing up and it's giving you a clear indication of what you need to do next. Trust your senses, trust your intuition. And I think that's the main thing here. You are getting to see things as they truly are. Embrace that truth. It won't lead you astray. Now, let's take a look at your final question. Whatever this is, we're going to pull one card and see the answer here. So you can focus on anything that I haven't had a chance to answer or anything that you need additional clarity on, and we'll see what Spirit has to say. All right, we have the Page of Swords, and it is reversed. This is about not being afraid to ask a question if you're not clear. So this card is normally about communicating, but when reversed, it's about listening or asking. It can also be about revising. So because this is a writing or communication card, some of you may be looking at what you had planned and thinking, you know what? I've learned a little bit about X, Y, and Z, and now I want to try this instead. So feel free to revise something if you need to. If you don't know what's going on, ask. If you're involved in some sort of new opportunity, really listen and feel it out first. And if you're not being heard, ask for an audience, ask for a chance to be heard. If you're asking me a yes or a no, this is basically saying you need to get some more information. It's a not yet. You need to ask, you need to listen, you need to research a little bit more on something. Ultimately, a Page of Swords is very good though, because it is a connection card, but you have to feel it. You shouldn't even be into the energy of questioning when you're moving forward. You'll know. So until you feel that confidence, wait. And otherwise, this is a great time for you to learn, for you to ask, for you to listen, because it's going to open up new opportunities and new potential. All right, Gemini, that is everything for this month. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, do me a favor, hit the like, subscribe, and opt into notifications if you haven't done so already. You can also give me a follow on social media. My handle is my full name. It's on all major platforms. You can go to my website if you need official links as well. A quick reminder, I do not give any private readings and I don't use direct messages. So if someone is messaging you on social media, it's not me. If you'd like to show support, it's optional, but it really does help the channel. So I want to say thanks in advance. You can do that by engaging with super stickers, super chat, becoming a channel member. Any and all of these help, as well as subscribing if you haven't already done that. Unless otherwise noted on my community tab, I drop new videos every Monday, Thursday, and Friday. I also do a daily upload, which basically is tapping into the energy of that day. And I do a live stream every Sunday. I hope you can join me for some or all of these. And that, my friends, is everything. Thank you for spending time here and being the best part of what I do here on YouTube. I really do appreciate your support, your participation, and I'm wishing you all the best in this brand new year. Take care, everybody. Lots of love and light. Talk to you soon.